mommy and daddy is not living together anymore. The love is still there. Everything remains the same. It's just that we are not living together.
It's a Hard Knock Life, and welcome back to my podcast. This is Siu Lim, your host, and today I have a very special guest. It's a Hard Knock Life, as you may or may not know, being a single mom. I was a single mom for about 10 years, and I had to share about this whole experience, I think, to the world. And I had actually always wondered what it was like being on the other side where someone else shares it for me. So here today, I have Zetty. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah. So, Zetty, tell me, I mean, I know, but let the listeners know, how many kids do you have?
I have two boys, two cute boys, 3 and 1, Ali and Adam.
Oh, I mean, 2 boys. Wow, that's a lot. That's a
A
lot.
handful.
Yeah. For those who don't have boys or don't, they are lovely, sweet maniacs. All right. But they're also lovely. So yeah. So how long have you been a single mom?
11 months now.
Okay. How's it been? How are you doing?
Where do I begin?
I don't know.
It's okay. I'm slowly adapting to this life, but so far so good, alhamdulillah.
Okay. Can I ask, how is it custody? How is it shared?
Since I went through fast track, so we it's a mutual agreement. So he takes the kids on weekends, and he also comes every 2 days to my house to play with the kids. So we're juggling our parenting, doing co-parenting very well so far.
Oh, that's, you know what? I'm going to say that's always really lovely to hear when people separate and they're still civilized.
Yeah.
I have to say that is, truth be that not always their separation or divorce goes, very nice. So then that makes it hard on the kids. And speaking of the kids, how did the kids take it that your mommy and daddy weren't going to be together?
Okay, so how do I explain it to them? Basically,
I mean, they're young, so yeah. So
I make it age appropriate.
Okay.
So they're 3 and 1, so they don't really understand the complex emotion or complex situation, right? So I just put it very lightly, like mommy and daddy is not living together anymore, but we still love you. Always put it, always acknowledge their feeling and make them feel secure. Say that the love is still there. It's not going to be any different. You still everything remains the same. It's just that we are not living together. We can still go out, have fun together, but we just don't live together.
Right.
So that's age appropriate for them, I think.
Okay.
For 3 and 1.
And do you ever think about times when they start going to school and they start seeing their friends, their mom and dads are together and they live together? Do you ever worry about how are you going to explain something like that to them?
When they start to compare, Ali, 3 years old, he once asked me like, why does Adli's mommy and daddy pick me up from school together? Why you always come alone? So I said like, different family has different settings. Like some people have 2 moms and 2 dads. Some people have 1 mom and 1 dad that doesn't live together. So different doesn't mean less. Yeah, so,
correct.
Yeah, but it's a bit hard to explain to a 3-year-old like that. Right? But as long as I see him happy, okay.
When you got divorced, were you concerned about how these kids will be raised or how they would react to?
My biggest concern was actually the confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, because they, at such young age, they cannot grasp the concept of relationships yet, right? So I was a bit scared that he would be confused lah, like and thinks that he is the cause of this. So but alhamdulillah, so far I'm not seeing all those. He's okay. Shifting from mommy's house to daddy's house, not confused anything. And also when I ask him, you sayang mommy more or daddy more? He would say, sayang mommy, daddy sama, same.
the
Yeah.
same.
So okay. So I guess like there's no bad mouth
That's
behind that.
very important. Of course, I mean, I have to admit that, like, again, you know, the ideal picture is that both parents don't badmouth each other. They're very civilized when it comes to separation, but it's not always the case. So sometimes when things go sour and, you know, parents don't get along, it can get very messy. So I think for you, you're very, very fortunate.
Yes.
Yeah, because it makes everything so much easier, especially for the boys who can now like say, okay, you know what, grow up and look at this as somewhat normal.
Yeah.
Is your family, have you ever experienced divorce in your family?
That's why, because it's a bit hard for me because I grew up in a normal, basic, two parents in one house family.
Okay.
So I don't like empathy. I cannot really put myself in my kids' shoes, right?
Right.
But what I can do is just acknowledge their feelings, give them the secure, yeah, and make them feel safe lah.
Yeah.
Give the same amount of love that I've been given before.
Do you find that sometimes they might, do you think they have tantrums? You know, do you think they act differently after the separation?
No, alhamdulillah, so far so good. Tak ada. But I'm scared that they will compare. Like when you know how us moms, like we do the disciplinary things. Like by 10 you sleep, by 7 you mandi. But when they're at their dads, like no rules apply.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit scared that they would compare. Oh, that is the fun part. That mommy is the boring, disciplined part.
Right. I get you because through experience. So a little background is that when I decided to have a divorce with my ex, my kids were 10. My eldest was 10, 8, and maybe I think it was like 4 and 3. Definitely for a 10-year-old versus a 3-year-old, it's a very different story. I mean, I had to sit down and I had to actually, you know, the thing is, he, as a 10-year-old, I'm pretty sure he saw it coming because I was in a marriage where just the house was full of tension. There were lots of fights going on. There was a lot of screaming going on. There was a lot of physical abuse going on. So, you know, as a mother, it was a hard decision to decide, okay, this is it. That's it. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I don't want my kids to witness this anymore. So even though my 10-year-old at that time saw everything and saw the negatives of it, he was still very upset when I told him that we were not going to live together. He was upset because to him, a normal life was having parents, mom and dad together, mom and dad picking me up from school. And now he's 18. He's now shared with me that at school I was so upset. I was so upset that I didn't tell my friends that you guys went through a divorce. I just kept it quiet. I pretended everything was normal until I was just ready to tell my friends, which was like years later. He always, I want to say, maybe envied his friends' parents for being together. And I always had to remind him. The reason why I pointed at him is because he was the one that understood the most. He had to always be reminded that not just mommy and daddy still loves you. I couldn't have that sort of conversation with him because he was just like, I don't care. You guys got a divorce. So technically that is not love to me. You know, technically you hate me. You want to make my life like really bad. You targeted me. He felt like a target.
Did he take it like it's his fault that you guys are?
He didn't, because I again through conversations I reminded him like it's not your fault. But regardless how much you tell somebody that's above a certain age, like 10-year-old, 15-year-old, they will always look at it as, yes, it was somewhat my fault. I could have done better. I could have not maybe bothered my parents when, you know, this and this. I don't know. Honestly, till this day, I don't know what went through his mind. But all I know is that he definitely felt embarrassed that my mom and dad were were divorced, and he felt very angry. But with boys, they're very different. They don't communicate. They keep it all in. They don't want to talk about it. I'm okay. Everything's fine. But he showed it through naughty behavior, bad grades. He showed it through, acting up. As they get older, they start understanding things more because they are now becoming young adults. So you have to always kind of reset. Like, set 3. Okay, cool. You don't need that conversation. But when they hit 4, 5, 6, 7, you constantly have to have another conversation again.
Tiring, though.
Yeah, it's so tiring. It's like choose your heart. You want to be in a marriage that you're unhappy with, or you want to be, you know what I mean?
Answering questions for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I'm sure, honestly, when you now living a single life, I mean, I think a lot of, in Asian culture, it's a taboo, right?
Yeah,
It's a big taboo. Like, oh, sayang,
But
like,
nowadays, not really anymore.
it's a common thing. Unfortunately, it's a common thing. I know. Unfortunately, it's a common thing to be divorced. But how did your family take it?
Oh, my family was very supportive of my decision as long as you are happy. His family was very supportive of me as well.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah.
Even until this day, we are...
How did you manage? Like, how? Give advice for those who don't have a civil divorce. Yeah.
For me, before he went to his family, I went to his family first. I said, this happened, and I don't think I can take it anymore. I've been holding on for too long now, and the family supports everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, as long as you are happy, because if this happens to my daughter, the mother-in-law said, I would ask her to go as well. Yeah, so it's very fortunate for me, to have such good in-laws.
Right. Yeah, because it makes everything easier. Yeah.
Even until this day, for for his sister's wedding, I do the preparations and the decorations, everything.
so nice.
So I'm very close to their family.
Oh, that's so nice. So you still have a relationship with everyone.
Yes.
So as a single mom, do you sometimes feel overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes you just want to break down and cry?
A lot of times, no, not sometimes, a lot of times, though. But I just tell myself that it's okay. It's a hard day today, but that's fine. Tomorrow is another day, and I just give myself a breather. Like sometimes a short escape of social media is okay also for me. Like, can I just scroll my phone for a while? Like things like that, or maybe just hide in the bathroom. Everyone has done that, right?
Guilty.
Just take your time, acknowledge the feeling, and know that it's okay. Everyone else is facing the same thing also, and you're not alone.
Yeah, I think acknowledging the feeling.
Also, good support system because I'm staying with my parents. So I tell them everything, what I feel, when I'm happy or when I'm sad, every single thing. So I don't really feel the loneliness yet.
Right.
Really? Yeah.
Right. I get you. I mean, we have a very different story. Honestly, we have. I mean, hearing you go through a very civil divorce, having a very not being alone. I think that's the hardest thing when you become a single mom, is just feeling so alone, regardless how busy you are.
Have you been divorced? Sorry.
So people always ask, like, how long was I divorced before I got remarried? Okay, 10 years. I was
But
single.
where you at now, within 10 years?
No, thanks. I will acknowledge that, because I definitely had a lot of moments where, like you mentioned, you broke down, you cried, you had a tantrum, your own tantrum, you cried in the bathroom, you needed a moment to yourself. I had all of that. I've been through all of that. I actually think it's completely normal. I think there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that you struggled, because the real story is that you're going to struggle. Like I said, you either decide which hard you want. You want the hard where you're in a marriage unhappy every day, where it turns out to could possibly have unhappy kids.
Yes. Exactly.
Or do you want your kids to look at you the other way and say, my mom's really happy? But yes, you struggle. And like you mentioned, I mean, we had a little chit chat before, like, going through a divorce, it's like a reset for, I want to say, for yourself, because you kind of try to find yourself again. You kind of find a new friend, which is yourself. And you kind of, for me, it was finding my own best friend again, because I didn't know her. I didn't know me. I didn't know what I wanted, right? So going through that whole journey, and I'm actually excited for you, going through the whole journey of trying to find yourself again as a single mom this time, because now you have responsibilities of 2 kids. It's not just about yourself anymore, which is very honorable, honestly, because now that you have responsibility, you are more responsible, right? Right? Hopefully. I don't know. Once you find yourself again, then I guess that's when only Allah knows that you're ready for another relationship. And saying that, do you think, now, like, do you think you're ready for a relationship now? Do you want to start, like
as you said, maybe I'm in the process of finding myself first. Like from the moment that I asked for divorce, I know that I'm putting myself first now. So from day one of divorce, I tell myself, you have to love yourself, because it's been I would say, toxic marriage before that. So I've been putting everyone else before me. But now that I'm like my not, I wouldn't say wings are clipped, but now that I'm free, I have to prioritize myself, achieve all my goals, prioritize my kids.
Yeah.
And then once I find myself now, maybe I will open up my heart later.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask you just now. How do you even start to open your heart to anyone else, like with the emotional baggage that you bring?
Yeah, that's
the trauma.
okay. I would say that's a good question, actually. That's a very good question, because you know what? Here's the thing. At the very beginning of the divorce, when I became a single mom, I didn't want to find another loved one. I didn't want it. And I never prayed for it. I never cared for it. And what happened was, I feel, this is honestly a true story, is that I feel only once I felt like, okay, I'm ready to date and I'm ready to find a husband, I made dua. And Allah answered. You know what I mean? If your heart doesn't want it and you didn't make dua
You
for
will
it,
find all the red flags.
yes, you
Even
will.
when-
You will only see a red flag.
Yeah.
That's it. But the thing is that when I felt like I was ready, well, what happened was I felt like my kids were getting older. And they didn't need me anymore. Like, I think that's what happened, was that the fact that, like, my son was getting older and he was just like, in his own world of dating, whatever. And my daughter was in her own world too. And my 2 little kids were actually more dependent on the older kids.
Oh,
so I was like,
that's
kind of
nice.
like,
Delegate.
yeah, I was kind of like, all right, well, what do I do now, And then they moved away. And then that's when I actually made dua to say, okay, I'm ready to find someone. And then sure enough, that happened.
Yeah,
So
things come when you least expect it.
yeah, definitely when you least expect it. So I do feel like it's not a bad thing. Not that I'm encouraging divorce. I'm just saying that it's
Disclaimer.
not. Yeah, because I think people look down upon it a lot, especially in Asian cultures, where they're like, "Oh, she's divorced," and
It's a failure.
it's a failure. She's a failure.
She's a
Because she's a failure. She's the one that broke off the last marriage. So, be careful with that one. And we go through our stages in life, okay? Like, I want to say the 20-year-old me is not the same as the me today, because I was very mature at that time. I was, I was a little bit more selfish. And now that you grow older, you want different needs in the marriage or as a mom, So you have different things that you look for, right? So when you find yourself, and then again, because your kids are looking at you and they're looking at you as a, that's my role model.
Yeah, role model.
So whatever you do, remember that kids are like sponges, right? They copycat everything.
Yeah, that's so scary.
Including the strength that you will build for yourself. Yeah. Any more questions for me? I felt like she wanted to interview me. Yeah. Being a single person, like single parent now for 11 months, how do you think it's shaped you as a person?
It teaches me to multitask. Actually, yeah. Of course.
Very important skill in life, by the way.
That's an important skill, yes, because sometimes I'm a mom, but I have to juggle I have to do both. I have to do the daddy stuff as well. I have to do all the you know, fun things that moms don't really do, like carry all them and go pusing on the head like that.
Yeah.
But I have to do that, and I have to be the mom who does the discipline, the taxi driver, the home, the private chef,
Yeah.
the
So wearing all these different hats
Yeah.
is hard, right?
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So that's what overwhelmed you. And I think even me when I went through that, it was overwhelming. But do you find it's manageable? Like,
Yes, but I would definitely say because I live with my parents now.
okay,
So sometimes when I feel like it's too much for me to handle, can you just go to syok.my now? I just
Yeah.
do that.
that's so nice.
Because- yeah, that's like a helping hand. Lah.
Right.
If I were to do it alone, I'm not sure if I can be like you. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. How do you find like, doing activities with them and stuff? Do you find your mind gets boggled with a lot of things as you're doing?
first son once said, I was a bit sad when he said that. Ali wants Mommy, Daddy, Adam, and Ali stay together. So I'm like, oh.
How did you
like
handle
it's
that one?
conversation like Peppa Pig family, like the Peppa Pig. So I'm like, okay, he's getting this from the TV, not like from the emotional. Like
okay.
he's taking it lah.
Right. How did you handle that? What did you say?
I said Peppa Pig family stays stays together, but our family is different. You have Mommy's house and Daddy's house. You have two houses, better than Peppa Pig. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Okay. But
Yeah,
do you think
always-
he felt that though? Like, you told him that. And again, kids, they're told they just if my mom says do that, okay, I'll do that, but they're told how to be, like, do you think he felt sad? Do you think he felt like,
At that
a bit confused,
age,
or just like, okay, my mom tells me to just be happy, I'll be happy? What do you think?
maybe at that age,
Yeah.
at 3 years old, maybe he would feel like, oh, then I just have to be happy. Okay, then I'm happy. Maybe a bit confused. That's why I'm scared when you ask me about my biggest concern about the divorces now, right?
You're right.
I said the fear of confusion, because I'm scared if he's confused, like, how am I supposed to feel about this whole thing?
Correct.
But I always acknowledge his feeling and say that it's okay to feel this way. If you're sad, just tell me you're sad. If you're happy, tell me you're happy. But having a divorced parent is not any less than any other.
true.
Yeah.
It's true. And if anything, in my experience, when I got a divorce, I felt like my ex-husband actually stepped up to be a dad. One of my complaints when he was when we were together was the fact that, oh my God, I'm doing everything. I'm doing the school runs, and why don't you, I'm doing the activities. I'm taking them horse riding. I'm taking them, bowling, and I'm just so tired. Why don't you help me and do anything? When we got separated, he stepped up and decided, okay, I'm going to take them horse riding, and I'm going to take them, So sometimes, like you said, it's never less, Sometimes it's just better for the family that way. So, yeah. So looking back, or, the last 11 months you've been a single parent, is there something that, a very proud moment? What's the proudest moment as being a single parent?
Proud. Ali once told me, like out of nowhere, he came to me like, Mommy, you're so strong, like Spider-Man. Like, okay.
I wouldn't be like
where
Spider-Man.
Where did that come from? But I think maybe he sees me doing things here and there, doing my work, and then I'm attending to my youngest boy. So he said, like, Mommy, you're doing a lot of things. You're so strong like Spider-Man. So I think I can say I'm proud with all the things that I can provide them, despite being a single mom. Like, nothing less than what I provided them before, when I have another helping hand. Yeah. So that's what I'm really proud of lah.
Yeah.
And not like a big change for my kids.
Right. And the fact that I hope anyways, they have a happier mom.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
that is something very important, a message that I have to send out to you listeners out there, is the fact that whether you're together or a single parent, you have to make sure that you're just a happy parent. Happy doesn't mean always happy. Of course, we're not always happy, but meaning that your children will overall feel the happiness. And as
And
as a human beings, they will grow up knowing this is what happiness is. They will grow up knowing being grateful for what they have, you know. And it's the same with us. Like, regardless of what situation we're in, we should always just be grateful for it, you know, because I think that actually helped me pull through as a single mom. Because otherwise, I think I'd die. I mean, I lost it many times, but you know, I think the hardest thing was the fact for me was to financially keep up, you know, and that's is the reason why I became a content creator, was that helped me financially, which was, like you said, wearing so many different hats. It was just so many different hats. But anyways, I do want to thank you so much for sharing your experience as a single mom. That's actually very important for a lot of listeners out there, because it's something that sometimes we, you know, it's hard to talk about.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very taboo thing. Something that people think needs to be whispered, right?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you just be proud of where you are now? At least you are happy.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I know it's a hard knock life, but thank you everyone for following. And Zetty, it's really nice to meet you.
Thank you for inviting as well.
Yeah. I'll see you guys next time.